We got the host on the ruse with their co-host Tony Stink,
What up?
and we got the Flushing GM, fresh off of his poop week, the Silver
Silver
Pooper.
Poopers.
The Silver Pooper. Welcome.
Just want to shout out Diaz one more time for that wonderful article. That was amazing. We're we're going with the names that you assigned us for this week and this week alone, but that was a lot of fun reading that article, and much props again.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
Names.
how's it been going, Andrew? How has your season been going? Let's just start
Oh man, it's
with
just
that.
been the most inconsistent thing I've ever come across in my fantasy career. I've never had experience like this. It's too many ups and downs, man. It's like I have like weeks where I feel like, oh man, no, I'm actually going to be like finally gonna compete for the Hunter Bowl.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
then I just have weeks like this past week where I'm just like, what did I do? What was I doing with my team? And I don't understand what went wrong. It's just so many things.
Yeah,
Yeah, you've had a lot of bad luck in like the teams that you face at the specific time that you faced them, because like your points total is pretty high. It's just like I think I remember you coming up against like the Hamilton winner like 2 or 3 times already this season, which is pretty rough.
Yeah, it's been that's. I think if I wonder if I look at the schedule, whether or not I think at least what 3 of my losses were like against Hamilton winners, maybe.
Yeah,
probably
that's what I
That's
think.
crazy.
Also, yeah, Chu also has the fourth most points, but he's 2-5, which is like really rough.
inexplicable. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we always talked about it every week. Deshaun Watson, he ping pongs back and forth, right? And I think
Yep.
that kind of is he's the face of your franchise, and that's how your franchise is going. It's going up and down with how he's going up and down this year, at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, that might be like the part of the problem. I think I just certain things didn't pan out, and I guess I don't know. I kind of question sometimes whether or not I should have made moves earlier
Hmm.
or more moves earlier, but I'm looking back. I don't see anything I would have done
Hmm.
that much different at this point.
Sure.
It's not like I'm like John, where I'm just gonna be throwing out trades like week 2, week 1.
Yep. Yeah. So we got a lot to cover this week with, of
Trades
course,
and
yeah, trades, free agent pickups. I thought this week was an interesting waiver wire week, and then we got, of course, the summary of last week. So let's just go through the week 7 results. Virginia -12 was Dustin's line. I took Virginia, but that was wrong. Harlem had the Hamilton this week with 204.28 versus Virginia's 127.5. Harlem, of course, the story was Aaron Rodgers with 54.55 fantasy points, and pretty much he's starting like the Green Bay offense, except for Aaron Jones. So,
Yeah.
was he starting it? I can't. Maybe he didn't. But in any
Yeah.
case, it ended up working out for him, obviously through the head of that offense, and then the New England defense with 43.6 points. Virginia had Velvin Cook doing his usual thing with 29.65, and Josh Allen coming up big against the Miami defense, of course, 26.3 fantasy points. Let's start with Harlem. They just had the Hamilton, and they're now 5-2. They are locked into a playoff spot at the moment.
Yep.
How real is this team, Dustin?
That Patriot stack.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
yeah.
that too. The
That
Patriot.
that's what it comes down to, I
Patriot
think.
stack.
If the Patriots defense even maintains like 75% of what they're doing, that's still like by far the best defense,
Hmm.
and that's such an advantage like every week because like every other defense you're looking at like sometimes like -5. Like no defense has had like you know such consistent and high results as New England. So I mean, like I said last week, their running backs are pretty consistent in the number of touches they get, which also helps like stabilize them everywhere else. And if Aaron Rodgers is, back to like the MVP level Aaron Rodgers, this team is really actually really scary.
Yeah, it's like facing an extra QB in the on the lineup.
Right.
Andrew, what do you think about Harlem?
I mean, you think like when I think I remember Dustin saying like the
Yeah,
Patriots were going to be, you know, the defense was going to be the MVP of a Hunter football
Yeah,
league.
no,
I
they,
was
yeah.
like,
I, they
I
have a
don't think
huge
that's a
lead right now.
joke. They might actually have the highest points total by the end of the season as a defense,
Yeah,
which is the most I've never heard of that. Like that's
uh,
insane.
It is
Like how
insane.
could a defense have the highest fantasy points total in the entire league for the whole season? But if they keep it up, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't have the highest points total. And that's just amazing. I think like it might actually put I don't know if it's just like a fluke, but it might put like seasons going forward in terms of how we score points in this league as like a consideration in terms of how people select defenses
right.
It
in
differ.
all
I think it differs per year because some years you have these explosive offenses and some years you don't. And
Yeah, yeah,
so, like, if but you're right, Andrew. New England defense right now is the number one fantasy player. The 237.64 fantasy points, beating out Russell Wilson 219.6. So, jeez, that's insane. Unbelievable.
There are two reasons though that you
Whew.
could possibly see the Patriots defense trend down. First of all, like
Mm,
their schedule gets significantly tougher from week 9 to like week 14.
sure.
They have crushed the teams they have, but I mean maybe the Jets Sam Darnold team was the best team they played, and I mean Sam Darnold just looked not good that game. So I don't know. I mean they forced that to like be the case, but also like those were
It's
some bad
both.
teams,
Yeah, it's a bit of both. Yep.
Yep. And secondly, like, as ahead of the curve as they are on the rest of the NFL, like, I feel like whether it's a super high power offense or super high power defense, as the season goes on, there's more of a chance that other coaches will find little ways to, like,
True.
mitigate the strength. Like,
Yep.
the Chiefs, the Rams last year, like, offensively, like early in the season, it's just like, oh my god, like this team could put up like 50 every game, right? But then like it's not consistent, but like some teams start to figure out, okay, like their weaknesses here or something like that, and
Right.
yeah, we could see that like developing over the second half of the season, and they've had a lot of like turnover. I mean, not
Oh yeah.
luck, but like it's definitely gone a little bit their way.
Right.
So I mean, I'd be surprised if they, matched or even like kept up like 80% of what they've been doing. But yeah, I don't think anyone can say that they're not the number one defense, even the rest of the season. So
For sure.
that's a strength.
Yeah, and let's also shout out Aaron Rodgers having a career day. He's back to being Rodgers, the Rodgers that we know. 5 TDs, 429 yards passing. I mean, and a rushing TD. Jeez, uh, that's what he was looking for when he paid all
I
that
mean,
money.
I'm looking at Diaz's team. I mean, Sanu is gonna get thrown to by Brady now. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, I don't know what he's gonna do to Philip Dorsett because of that. Though. I'm not sure. Maybe Dorsett would still have the same production.
sure.
I need to see more from Rodgers to declare that he's back, because yeah, he did destroy Oakland, but I mean Oakland has one of the worst secondaries, and they traded away like a starting cornerback like right before the week 2.
Right.
And his two last games before that were Detroit and Dallas. 25 points, 15 points. He didn't have all his weapons like healthy, obviously, but
Right.
he needs to show more of this against like an average secondary for me to be like, okay, like this is the Rodgers that could carry a team. But I mean, obviously, if he puts up 55, you have to be feeling pretty good that he could get on a roll. But I'm just saying, like the only two really good games, like over 25-point games, were Oakland and Philadelphia, and those are maybe the two worst secondaries in the NFL right now. So
Yeah,
Yep.
I
I
agree.
need to see, yeah, I need to see another game before I consider him like back.
Andrew, what were you saying?
Yeah. I'm just saying. Yeah, I agree with Dustin. I think he just. It was like a game trending like situation where he
Yeah,
happened to end up being this good. I'm not sure if I totally believe that he's like all the way there yet. He might just drop back down to where they need to run the ball with Aaron Jones more or Jamal Williams more the next game, depending on who they're facing. So I don't think it's completely like all the way 100% Aaron Rodgers is back.
yeah.
Sure. Um, let's move on to Virginia. So they're also 5-2. Only scoring 124.5 fantasy points this week, but
Yeah, Squaw is finally going to regression. Scored that little
yeah.
20,
So
man.
I was gonna also ask if they're for real, but it seems like you already answered that, Andrew.
No, Hua is never for real.
Oh man! Oh god!
It's true though. Flushing has more points than Virginia, and yet they have mirror records at this point. 5-2 and 2-5. That's such a big difference. You know,
That's how angry I am over
yeah.
how
Like Quangry should turn into Chew Angry or something for him, because like if anyone's gotten the short stick, it's definitely Flushing. So
I don't hate Hua, but I'm so angry at how lucky he is. It's driving me insane.
it is just one of those years for him. It seems like.
He is the second luckiest team still. The first luckiest is, of course, John. Yeah, Dalvin Cook is still really good, but he does need his other stars to pick him up, right? He needs Julio Jones, and Julio Jones can do what he does in certain games, but you just don't know when. And then George Kittle, only 5 fantasy points here, but that was a really wet game in Washington, so
Yeah.
maybe you can excuse him for this week, but he really needs like one of those 20-pointers from that tight end slot.
Are we going to talk about his trade while we're talking about his team right now?
We can talk about it if you want, but I was gonna
not in
save
detail,
it
but
later. Yeah. If you want to go ahead,
we can, like,
because what we're looking at is different than what he's going to field next week. That is true.
Yeah. It's like 3 of the players on there are probably not going to start anymore.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think he's getting a little bit of a boost because he's traded an injured player, right, for someone who could contribute right away, and I think that's a great move for now. So, yeah, on the schedule as well, he's facing Ken, Warren, and then Duho. So there's definitely bounce back potential, especially with Ken's mistakes on the waiver wire this week.
Yeah.
Early
in this week, I was looking at like, all right, like which of these 5-2 teams is most vulnerable.
Yep.
And before all the trades, I was thinking, okay, like Hua's team probably has the biggest chance to like regress to the mean and get some like bad results. But then his schedule the rest of the way, I mean, nothing's a cakewalk in the HFFL, but
Yes.
like he is facing all teams under 500 except for John in week 11, and
Right.
and then John also has a lot of bye weeks that week. So I mean, you can't
Really?
you can't guarantee you can't guarantee like that he's gonna like finish like strong enough to make the playoffs. But like I was really disheartened by like how his schedule sets up the rest of the way.
Sure, it's a real thing, and I think we're about halfway, maybe, yeah, just about halfway into the season, and you can kind of tell which teams are on the better side, worse side, right? So, yeah, that's definitely consideration. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. We'll talk about them more as we go into the trades. Let's for now go to Capital Region. The LIC Capital Region game was given an even line by Dustin. I took LIC, and that was the result. LIC with the victory, 149.6 fantasy points to 125.54. LIC, DeAndre Hopkins, 20.6. Oh, sorry. That's Capital Region. Capital Region at 20.6 from DeAndre Hopkins. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 20.3, and Dak Prescott for 27.4. And then the story for LIC was Marvin Jones. Oh, my God. 4 TDs, 37.55 fantasy points. Of course, a career day against Ken, who seems to be facing a lot of career days lately. And Jared Goff with 31.15 fantasy points. So let's start with Capital Region. It's just been that kind of year for him where he's just really unlucky. We saw the Patrick Mahomes injury live. It's just that kind of year for him. Dustin, what are your thoughts on Capital Region?
Yeah, no, I mean they've been hit with a ton of bad luck, and like definitely there's probably nothing that they could have done to really like be in a much better position at this point.
Yeah.
But I mean the story of their year, I mean their wide receivers have underperformed or been on and off, but I think the running backs like just were too weak from the beginning. And I know Ken's like approach is to like try to believe in these guys to break out, but you assess their situations, and I just don't think like there's enough certainty there, and like he probably should have tried to make a deal for a running back earlier. Obviously he has like stuff going on in real life, and I mean injuries to Mahomes and Kamara probably mean that it wasn't gonna happen like for him anyway. So like it's hard to blame him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, every week you're looking at his running backs, and like maybe one shows up, and then it's always a different one. So like you can't be like, okay, this guy's like locked in as like my guy behind Kamara, or like this guy, I can at least count on for like 9 to like 13 points at worst. Like he doesn't have guys with like floors. He's like kind of like the opposite of Diaz's team, where they're gonna get like 40 touches between Fournette and Carson,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a stabilizing force, and that prevents you from like going as low as like Capital Region has gone in scores.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think it was like a misjudgment in how he built the team, but yeah, you can't deny the bad luck that they've dealt with. So I am sympathetic.
What do you do at this point with this team, Andrew Chu? Like, if you,
I think he needs. Wait. Do we know how long Kamara's gonna be out for? Is he out for the season?
no, he's not out for the season. He's maybe
Yeah,
for like a
so
couple more weeks. The bye week is coming up after this week.
yeah, I mean, I think he needs to make like if he's looking to try to fill in regards to the running back, maybe he could try to aim higher in terms of like trying to go for like a better upside guy in terms of, or at least trade for one temporarily, or do something. I don't know how much money he wants to spend
Mm-hmm.
as a waiver wire budget or fab, but yeah, I mean I like what he's done though. Personally speaking, I'm looking at like a lot of like the fill-in players and how
Yeah,
they scored. I'm looking at Royce Freeman. It's not bad. He's done what he
it's
can
not bad.
with what
Yeah,
he has. It's just he just got hit way too hard.
yeah, and I think
It's just hard to come back.
some decision needs to be made in terms of what the direction is for this season. Maybe soon, but
I mean, yeah, no, I think his goal should to try to balance this roster as well as he can for
true.
consolation bracket.
Yeah,
Because I mean, he's not the type to really push in at 2-5, even though his team does have strong pieces. Because a lot of his keepers are like I wouldn't move him for a Hail Mary shot at 2-5.
right.
So, and with like Mahomes probably missing another game and Kamara like out, like I don't think he could realistically be thinking like he's gonna go like undefeated the rest of the season and like get into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would be working slowly on trying to rebalance this roster. He does have wide receivers that other people would start when healthy, like Kirk is on his bench. Watkins when he's healthy, someone might be comfortable using him in
In a
bye
pinch,
week
yeah.
fill in
Yep.
or in a pinch. And he needs to take more shots on like running backs that have a chance to be like much steadier guys by the end of the season, because I don't think that's on his roster as it is right now.
I agree
Freeman
with that.
splits carries, yes. Freeman splits carries every week. Breida I'm actually like pretty okay with, but like he also splits, so like there's gonna be some weeks where he just has duds, and I don't think Miles Sanders is really startable right now with the situation that he's in.
Yeah, I think he definitely has tradable pieces, and he definitely should try to work something out in regards because people will want
Right.
players like Sammy.
So the good thing is, if he realizes, okay, like this season is pretty much lost just because of the injuries to his big guys, he can actually take a really patient approach and try to profit off when more desperate teams have bye weeks or injury squeezes, and he can like trade up in value for the fact that he can offer someone that's playing this week for someone maybe that's on bye or someone that's hurt for a few weeks, and he should try to like trade up in value through that method, and try to get it strong for the consolation bracket, because his keepers are still like too good for him to like
One of the
even
best, yeah.
like what are you gonna trade for? Like I think you already have 7 years that you want to give out between the guys that he has. So yeah, he needs to be patient, I think, and really like if a team on the trading block says like, I need a wide receiver that I can start this week. He should be one of the ones
You
that.
could trade Kamara and Mahomes for an entire John's team. Give John back Mahomes.
Yes. So he faces on the schedule Hua, Dustin Diaz, and then me. So it's a pretty tough schedule, I think.
Mhm.
But at the same time, he could play an interesting spoiler down the
Yeah,
stretch as well, because I
sure.
do think his team is good, especially when they get healthy. So,
Mhm.
yeah, we'll see how that turns out for him. We'll go to LIC, where they're another 2-5 team now. Another 2-5 start, just like last year, and
Everyone is 2-5 right now, though.
that's true. But I think
Way to
you
bounce
can't
back, Warren. Way to bounce back.
you can't call them dead. I think they can't. They're not dead. They're not dead at all.
I'm gonna call him dead.
Oh man, why is that?
I mean, this is a completely different situation than last year. The problem is all the playoff teams right now are 5-2. If one of them were 4-3, I think, you know, LIC would have a slight chance to like make things happen.
Okay.
But yeah, you're still on. But
Okay.
yeah, this team isn't strong and getting unlucky. Like it's just like not as good as the actual good teams in this league. And he has some things that could like increase in value, like Kenyon Drake and Mark Walton, but that's not enough for you to go undefeated the rest of the way. So yeah, I mean, I think this is another team that should be looking towards the future and next year. His keepers are not as good as Capital Regions, obviously. So maybe he actually
True.
should be looking to pick up like even the marginal keepers might help him a little bit, just because it's not no one's really locked in on his team as a keeper except.
Sorry. Based on Warren's
Chubb.
formula, he has 2 more years after this to get back to playoff shape.
True.
That's true.
Yeah, this is right according to schedule. So, this is they're like the Marlins. They tank hard and then win the World Series. Tank hard, win the World Series. That could be the plan.
Chew, what are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, I agree. It's not even like a depth issue for him. He just doesn't have the superstars on his team
Yeah,
to generate the point totals to,
yeah,
lead in the front of the league right now at this point.
Yeah,
And
that's a
I
good
don't think
point.
there's much he could do with the players he has on his roster to try to get those players, in my mind. So
Yeah.
at 2-5, if I was Warren, I'd probably try to get solidify my keepers soon.
yeah.
And
Because
that
all he really does have for sure is Chubb, and I guess Goff is locked in and pretty cheap.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, Antonio Brown just being there, I think it just makes it so hard for him to like improve his team while carrying that like $70 anchor, and like to trade that is also like just so hard,
Impossible.
and like cutting it is still a huge, like I just don't think he's gonna be able to, even if he made like the smartest moves possible, like it's just a limiter on the upside of his team, and he's not gonna gamble on that. He doesn't have the keepers to even like push for. So I do think this is pretty much a lost season, although they did win this week. So yeah, he should be thinking long term too, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna paint a brighter picture, but I think I've gotten convinced by you guys. I was gonna say,
Wonky, you gotta be real.
Devin Singletary, he could have an opportunity to become good. Emmanuel Sanders, he just got traded to the 49ers. Maybe he could be really good as well. But I liked your point, Chu, about not having the superstar other than Chubb, right? Especially the wide receivers. To me, Marvin Jones isn't gonna have 4 TDs every week, so it's likely that he's not gonna repeat this. This whole year probably. And
I will say though, yeah, he is stockpiling the right type of assets, like Mark Wallen for cheap.
Yep,
like,
cheaper assets. Yep.
could get better. Keyshawn Johnson could get better. Like
Sure.
everyone on his roster is guys that are obviously lowly valued because they're not doing anything right now, but a lot of them could increase in value. Even like Emmanuel Sanders just got traded. That's going to be, and he's so cheap that like a contender it'd be a great sweetener to like
Definitely interesting.
get one of the better players. So yeah, I do think he is managing it the right way at this point, but I don't think there's a playoff run in his outlook right now.
Yep. With that, let's move to the last on the left side here. Great Kills +3 was your line, and I took Flushing. Great Kills came out the victor, 153.15 to 105.96. So this was your guys'
The silver
matchups.
pooper.
Oh yeah, the poop went to you. Uh, Chu had Deshaun Watson with 23.35 fantasy points, and that was pretty much it. I think not too much. Greg the leg with 13.5. That's not a good sign when your kicker is your second highest scorer. And then great kills. Darren Waller, 28.1. He finally got in the end zone for 2 TDs. Phillip Rivers with 28.9 fantasy points. Zeke doing his usual. Zeke 23.95, and Gardner Minshew 23.05. Let's start with Flushing. Fresh off the poop. It's a little unfortunate. I think you did get a little unlucky. A couple of weird game scripts with Terry McLaurin in the rain, Adam Thielen getting hurt after scoring a touchdown, and yeah, I don't know. The Kyler Murray just got vultured by his running
all
back.
of those games had like
Yeah.
something that went wrong.
Yeah.
Murray they game controlled the crap out of that game because they were killing the Giants.
With Chase Edmonds.
Yeah, Chase Edmonds got everything.
And then McLaurin ran face first into a 49ers defense.
Yeah,
In
and
the
the
rain,
rain.
yeah.
The rain made it impossible for anyone to move. That was really like the wettest game I've seen in a long
Yeah,
time.
it's crazy.
And then Thielen got hurt, and then Devontae
Freeman, yeah, he got
punched somebody in the face.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah. Ejection.
It's the most ridiculous thing that could happen. I mean, I literally just traded for it.
It's true.
That's how he feels. I don't know.
No, I actually like the trade. I just didn't
Yeah.
think something like that was going to
Yeah,
happen.
yeah. It's not
True.
like
Right
Keenan
after.
Allen. Actually, like I traded Auden Tate to you, and he did like as well as
did
Keenan
better.
Allen. Yeah, Keenan Allen is like.
Oh,
pretty good.
yeah. Wow.
But yeah, for Flushing, I mean, a lot of bad luck this time. This time they actually just did suck, which does suck because like this was one of the more winnable games for him.
Oh, true.
Yeah, like so it sucks when you put up good scores and lose to like higher scoring guys, and then like when you do play a team that's like putting up like okay points, you just lay a complete egg. So that really does suck. I think like the personality of this team is basically Kyler Murray and Deshaun Watson, who can peak so high, but they're not every week like putting up like the same performances, which I think does make it a little volatile. And they got unlucky with like matchups and stuff. This I think actually might be the strongest 2-5 team.
Yeah.
Actually, definitely is the strongest 2-5 team. So maybe this team, if they get like really hot and lucky, they could factor into the playoff race later. But yeah, I mean, I think the Devontae Freeman does balance the roster a lot. Him getting like ejected is just unfortunate. Yeah, I like Bell. I think his like the Jets. Everyone knows like their schedule gets super easy, right?
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard it, but yeah, the Jets have a
Yeah.
really good. Everyone's talking about it.
Right. So I mean, if there's a team that I think could make like a
Come on,
LIC
first win of the season.
LIC type of run, it is Flushing.
Yeah, there's a lot of arrows pointing up, right? Cortland Sutton now is the undisputed
Yeah.
wide receiver 1 of the Broncos. There's no more Sanders. He is the guy now. And then we got Hunter Henry coming back from the injury. He looks like he's being used heavily.
Yeah, he's been really good.
Heavily, almost double-digit targets in both of the games that he's been playing. And of course, the Jets, both that Jets defense pickup and Le'Veon Bell, they've got that really easy schedule that everyone's talking about. So.
Yeah, the Jets defense pickup was actually smart if you're looking at like future weeks, because I mean, if they were on waivers this week, they would have gone for a significant amount more because everyone knows about their schedule. So it was good to go a week early, and luckily like that wasn't the factor in him losing. So
I think one of the best things is like Jets' bye week's already gone, so
right,
true.
That's
playing for the rest of the way.
So yeah, I really like that pickup. I think like this team is probably the team that can get hot at the right time and rattle off like enough to come back into the playoff picture. So yeah, I wouldn't lose hope yet if I was Flushing.
True, you got Thielen out of your lineup, right? Is it already?
Yeah, no, I'm not playing him.
All right,
I
cool.
put him on IR already.
Oh, nice. All right, let's go to great kills.
Wait, can I just say one thing before we move on?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
So what hasn't gone right for Flushing, and this is more like a long-term look, is Damian Williams.
He's not.
I know, Chu, you kept him for how many years? You know,
Oh my God, more than one?
Yeah, because I was talking to
believed.
Paul. Paul said we can all reset up our keeper
Oh, you
contract
can
for the new
reset.
year.
Okay, okay. So you'll probably
Oh,
give him
but
one.
you can't go lower.
What?
Was the thing I think Hua said.
You can't
Otherwise,
go
I mean, there's
lower?
no point. Yeah, you can't take away years. I think. Otherwise, there's no point in assigning anything.
Ooh,
You should always go 3.
we need a clarification.
Yeah, if that's the case, then I feel like I misunderstood what Hua was saying.
Right,
Oof.
but I mean, I'm saying if
When
if it
when
is that
I
you
asked.
could renegotiate down years, then there would be no reason to give anyone 1 year.
Right.
Because you might as well get the cheap raises, and then you could always just go down, right? So
I thought it was
I'm
just like
pretty.
not renegotiating less total years, not for per player.
It is per player. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, maybe I wouldn't have. I don't know. At this point, I guess it is what it is.
But
Yeah, it
you
is what
might
it
not be
is.
the only one who interpreted it like that, Andrew, because I feel like a lot of people gave out longer contracts than I thought they would. You know what I mean? I'm not sure. Like maybe not. Maybe they all had interpreted it correctly, but
This commissioner is kind of shitty, right?
some shots fired from the
Nah,
former
I mean-
commissioner
That was
too.
rough.
Yeah. No, to be fair, like we enacted so many
Yeah.
rules this year. Like he's
Yeah.
really done as good a job as
I guess,
we could hope
I
for.
don't know. I'll try to clarify that with Hua later. I'm not
Right.
sure if I understood him correctly.
Yeah, so the other thing, and I think this is like a side tangent here, but I just want to talk. I wanted to talk about it during the show. But the other thing that's really interesting about those the new rules is the fact of balancing the years with the number of keepers, right? So that number of years that are if you can't take it back to, it is really painful because that could limit your number of keepers potentially. I don't know if it'll matter or
so-
not.
The good thing is Damian Williams was pretty cheap, so I imagine like the cut won't hurt too bad. And I think
the cut.
I think
Okay.
yeah, cutting is going to become a much bigger part of managing our teams now that like there's longer extent and like a limit to how many years you can give out. I think cuts are going to become pretty regular. People are going to have dead cap of 5 to 15 going into years, and I don't think it'll be prohibitive
Mm-hmm.
too much. So I don't think it's like a bad situation. I was more going to ask, you chose Damian Williams over George Kittle, right? You traded away
Right.
George Kittle.
Yeah, I traded
Can
away.
you can you talk about how you made that decision and
Well, the key
how
was
you think it's played out?
I knew I couldn't keep both of them because I was out of
Right. Yeah.
first, and I wanted to move up in the rookie draft.
Right. Right. I know.
So that was the
yeah.
biggest key because I was asking everybody ahead of me, like who
Yeah.
So
wanted
nobody bid on Damian Williams.
I didn't. I know you asked me too.
no. Some people wanted it, but they didn't want. But I wanted a higher pick for Damian
Right.
Williams.
Right. Okay. So
Ah.
yeah.
Because
So,
I didn't know they were gonna sign McCoy at the time,
right. Right.
right? Because the rookie draft happened beforehand.
It did.
So I wanted to keep Williams unless I could get like a first or second pick.
Yeah, I can confirm he tried with me, and I just wanted the number one pick. So nothing against
Which
Damian
made
Williams.
sense, which was fine.
Yeah,
and
that
I
makes
have no
sense.
regrets now.
Yeah.
you know, 'cause-
No.
'cause
Yeah.
I was able to
That's-
get. I was
Kyler?
able to get.
Murray. Yeah. That was a fine process. So I was just curious as to what you were thinking of Kittle and Damian Williams before you had to make the decision to trade one.
No, yeah, I did actually try to trade Damian Williams. It just
He
didn't
did.
pan out. That's all.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Sometimes the deal is just what's out there.
Yep, he probably would have been a better keeper than Carry On. Anyways, the great kills,
Ouch.
great kills at 2-5, right? 2-5 or 3-4? Sorry, 3-4. My bad. 3-4. They are another team that I will say is not dead, never dead.
Great kill comeback.
They could come back. I really actually do think they can contend for the playoffs. And I've been looking at schedules. They face Duho, Ken, and then they have a tough matchup with John after that. But still, not the end of the world in terms of scheduling. So
we're going to Mars to win.
woo! All right, well that's in a couple weeks, so let's wait on that thought.
Jarvis Landry.
But before getting to there, I mean, I do think there's pieces here. There you got Zeke, Gurley, great running backs, and then you've got Cooper Kupp and then Keenan Allen as your new addition. Darren Waller and Evan Ingram are great tight ends too, high volume tight ends. that could put up 30 apparently, according
Yeah.
to Waller's previous week. So not terrible here.
Minshew mania is the truth of
I
Jake Hills.
Oh,
I've
that's
been
true.
saying to Matt, my like owner, like I've never had to work so hard to just be like 3-4 at this point. Because like we've been like working so hard on like what we could do to like improve our team, like talking out like waivers for like long periods of time, like going back and forth on stuff. I have to say, like my perfect season, like everything just went so smooth, like it was just like laughing the whole way there, right? Like, but this year it's like struggle, anguish, pain, like
Damn, still throwing that
it.
perfect season in our
I know,
face.
I know.
I mean, I got it. It
He's
was it
he's
was
never
it
gonna
was pretty
stop.
perfect. It was pretty perfect. Yeah. So like, I do think we've balanced our roster a lot more. Keenan Allen obviously, is struggling, so we can't say like our issues are fixed at wide receiver, but at least we have some like potential there now. But honestly, while we are the closest in the playoff hunt, I would say the chances are pretty low. The 5-2 teams, it would have been nice if one of you were 4-3 instead of all three of you sitting at 5-2, because that just leaves so little room for error for our team, I think. And yeah, and I like the matchups for the worst team that I thought like were too easy. So like I see the playoffs coming down to like potentially 9-4, and that means like I would have
Oh,
to either win out or maybe 8-5. That means like I have like one or two losses at most. So I wouldn't say we're that optimistic, but we're in it, so
I feel
we'll
like you.
play it out.
yeah,
I feel
Andrew.
like you should be though, because I'm looking at the team right now, just like it's upsides everywhere.
Yeah, no,
Like,
I think we're balanced now for sure.
I mean, literally, I feel like you score 150 as like a low end
Right,
based on
and
how it
yeah,
works
and
out.
we have like defenses that hopefully should because
Go
we've
positive.
been getting we've been getting really bad scores at defense, and the one time I had a defense that scored like 35, I benched him because I was like up by like 3 points
Oh,
on
right,
whoever.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and so like if you look at our like total defense scoring, it's just been really bad. So hopefully the mix of Chicago and Steelers, who have looked pretty good since they got Fitzpatrick, hopefully that gives us a much steadier base to work from, because it really sucks when you're getting like negative like 10 at defense and someone's getting 20. That just feels like you lost like 30 points.
it does. Yeah, it's not a
Yeah,
good feeling.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think it ties down to you're tied to the Rams offense, Cooper Cup and
yep,
Todd Gurley.
yep,
If they have a second half that we can remember their
yeah,
offense by, then
yeah.
that's gonna
Yeah,
be
and
good for you.
I think I've said this before. We have two stacks now.
Yeah,
Minshew and Westbrook is kind of trending up, and
Rivers, kind of,
Rivers and yeah. So we need those things to go right. We need that to like stay or trend up, and I guess it's possible. So I guess I do have like outs still. Like I still do have stuff that can happen that can make me maybe on the level of the top four teams. But yeah, I would consider us heavy underdogs to make the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, I
Um,
wonder how the bye weeks are gonna affect you coming up.
that's
right. I mean,
true.
yeah, Zeke on bye was is kind of rough because like I feel like we really need this win. Um, and yeah, I still have a lot of my buys left with the Rams and like some of the Patriots guys.
Jaguars. Yep.
Yeah.
So then, alternatively, then you would be thinking to sell, right? If that's your
Yeah, no,
thinking.
it is. I have already, felt out what could possibly be out there if, we decide to sell. Um, I was considering doing it this week, as you might know, but like, we decided to let's see
Oh, you have to
how
beat Mars first.
that's true.
Beat
Maybe
Mars, then
maybe
sell.
after we beat Mars, ruin their perfect season. That'd be pretty poetic.
That's the plan.
Yeah, you gotta
Uh,
defend your season.
that's true.
Defend
That's
the
true.
record.
Right. I might have to hold until after. But yeah, like Oakland, if we beat them, I think I'll feel much more confident about our chances. So we'll see how this week goes before we make any drastic decisions.
That's the difference between a championship caliber fantasy team and by me. He
Yeah,
already has. He already has a
I,
sell plan.
I,
I
I
don't even have
think
a sell plan.
I think Chu is set up really well
You're
for the
set up well.
future.
Yeah.
I honestly would say like right now, like if I had to bet on someone to win the championship next year, uh, Chu might be the favorite.
Damn,
Because he's cleaned
that's
up.
what I thought last year.
I mean, your keepers were good, but not the best coming into this year. It was definitely up there though. But like next year, I think like Kyler Murray being added to the group and McLaurin, who looks like
A star.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Right. I think this is such a deep group of keepers, spread out like all across. You're probably gonna have to cut or maybe trade Damian Williams with a sweetener. But I really like how Flushing is managing their team now. They don't have the flubs that they might have used to have. They don't leave roster spots open. They don't kind of what like Ken has been doing just because he's been busy this year, like what you saw this week with the waivers. But like Flushing's like cleaned that all up, so I think
Maybe
they're
I
my
can get
favorite for
someone
next
to
year.
take Cortland Sutton and Damian Williams
Uh,
field.
Oh,
definitely, you should like do the math in your head and like how many years you want to give to everyone else, and
right,
if like
right.
Sutton is expendable, someone might be able to take on that future hit for a piece that they could keep for multiple years. So see, look, I really like how I'm not just sucking up to the guest, but like I really like how he's like thinking now. Like that's advanced thinking of like how to manage your assets and stuff. So
True.
yeah, I'm really impressed.
Yeah. I we have to move on because I think our show is gonna go really long,
Yeah, we're
regardless.
just yeah we're going yeah.
Um, but yeah, props again to both these teams, honestly, and yeah, a lot of young talent for you, Chu. Um, let's go to Oakland. I gave them -5, and Dustin, you took Yonkers, and Yonkers came out as the victor. 158
Mm-hmm.
points for them versus 138.35. Um, Yonkers had a lot of solid scoring from a bunch of dudes: Tom Brady, Saquon, Derrick Henry,
Mm-hmm.
Tyreek, Ty, yada yada. It's like a bunch of people that had about like 20, 15 to 20 fantasy points.
Yep.
Oakland, they had Sony Michel. We saw him for 23.4 fantasy points get those
Fantastic game.
vulture 3 touchdowns near the goal line. The Stephon Diggs with 16.55. Oh, Kirk Cousins, of course, 38 fantasy points. So
Yeah.
really solid from his Viking stack, but not much from anyone else. Let's start with Yonkers, talking about teams with their stock up. I think Yonkers is another one in that category. I believe they're also 2-5. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Everyone's basically 2-5.
And Oakland is also 2-5. But
Yeah.
yeah, so even though they're 2-5, the stock is up with a lot of people coming back from the health, right? From health,
Yep. Yep.
poor health at least.
Uh,
Um,
Tyreek and Saquon is better than some whole teams really.
yeah, it's true. Um, and I think he's got a lot of good players with solid good players, right? T.Y. Hilton, Robert Woods, and Tevin Coleman. Tevin had the rain game in Washington, but he
Yep.
still got his rushing attempts and no touchdowns for this week, but a lot of yards.
Yep.
Chu, what you think about Yonkers?
I mean, they survived the onslaught, so now it's just them trying to dominate it week in and week out. I think it's a great team. I mean, I'm just worried for his. I'm still worried for his quarterback depth because I
Yeah,
don't think Tom Brady's the same player as he used to be.
but Breeze
Uh-huh.
coming back
Yeah,
sometime
so
soon.
that should help.
Yeah,
Daniel Jones is he's I don't know. I think
He's
Daniel Jones
inconsistent,
playing.
like
Yeah, if he
like
keeps
a
playing the
rookie.
way he does, I'm not. I guess the Giants will probably stick with him.
Yeah,
Then again, they still do have Eli on the bench, so I don't know.
I think you summed it up when you were like, yeah, that's Daniel Jones.
pretty much. Yeah, sometimes he looks good. Sometimes he's a rookie. I mean,
Yeah,
like, what are you gonna expect?
Everywhere else, I think no. Jay's Jay's team has just done an amazing job putting together a solid
right.
across the board. They're going to generate consistent production every week. A lot, which is almost a completely different team than mine. They're just not. They're not boom or bust as much. But besides, yeah, and then obviously I lead on my quarterbacks. He doesn't really as much. So that's completely different.
That's true. It
But
is kind of a
it's a great
flipped.
team otherwise.
Yeah. I think as you were saying about Flushing, I think I would pick Yonkers as the 2-5 team to make it to the playoffs because they do look like a very strong team and they're regaining their health, and I think they're gearing up for a good second half run here with Drew Brees back soon. Not this, maybe this week. I don't know. We'll see. And then he's got a bye week, but Saquon's back. He kind of was a little gimpy, but he still did his thing, and he's gonna get his touchdowns. And Tyreek, of course, he's a monster. So, yeah, I think things are looking up for him.
Yeah, I just worry that
Yep.
in the future they'll look back at one of the games that they lost early, like close, and they'll be like, that we got hot, but like just one game away from like making playoffs because 2-5 is tough. But you're right, like this team could be stacked at every position, and
Right.
they are finally getting healthy. And yeah, so I mean, they need a lot of things to go their way. Obviously, it would help if one of the playoff teams started like really like struggling, and he would have to get hot. But this is definitely the type of roster that you could see. I healthy. This would not look out of place. Snuggled in
Definitely
with
not.
the
Yeah.
top four teams. So yeah, definitely think he has a good shot. I do want to point out a huge underperformer for his team.
Go ahead.
Matt Bryant making $11 and only putting up 5 points. I think he's overpaid. I think the fans should be on him. You don't get paid 11 to put up 5. You gotta put up more than your salary. That's my
You think
formula.
Jay should join the ditch Falcons player movement?
Oh, man. The highest paid kicker in the league.
Yeah, it's historic, and you gotta perform. 5 is not gonna do it, man.
Oh man! All right. Well, with that, let's quickly move on to Oakland. So they came off a Hamilton week, I believe. They just got $10, and now they put up. I don't want to call it a stinker, but 140 points, pretty much. Not a victory, right? Some not so great performances, and really it came down to that David Johnson, Chase Edmonds decision. I don't know if he was thinking between those two, but he was thinking between someone and Chase Edmonds.
No, he said he was planning on putting Chase Edmonds in, and he just didn't. So
yeah, that was the difference.
And Matt Ryan twisting his ankle.
Oh, right.
Yep. So yeah, 2 injuries really impacted his week, but it is gonna hurt that benching
20
Chase
more points from
Edmonds.
Matt Ryan would have won him the
Right.
week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. He
And
was
that
at
would have
home.
been like a Matt Ryan average.
Yeah, he needed only 17 because of home field. So yeah, I mean,
Yep.
definitely doable.
I tried telling Duho that Dawson not that good, but everybody was hyped up on him for some reason. I don't understand. I
It's
was like, Duho's a new tight end whisperer, so
Yeah,
I was like, all right, maybe he's right.
Yeah, no, we thought he had something, but it turns out it was all just blind luck. Chu is still the real tight end whisperer. We're sorry we tried to take that title away.
Yeah. I think it was the Miami matchup, and I don't know if we can trust that
No, we
going
can't.
forward. I think Miami might be a real team, guys. So I don't know. I mean, it was
With
against
Fitzpatrick,
Buffalo.
Yeah, with Fitzpatrick, their offense doesn't put their defense out there like
Yeah.
so it is definitely different. Also, Knox was in line to start by himself at tight end, but I think Tyler Croft or something.
Yep.
He came back, and I think they split the snaps pretty evenly or
Oof.
something.
Yeah. That's
So
gonna do it.
yeah,
And-
not
and-
great luck there.
I think the way Josh Allen plays doesn't really use the tight end. I think he likes to bomb it or
Yes.
run. So
Yeah.
I don't know about the short completions to the tight end.
His check down is tucking the ball and running.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't doesn't do
yeah.
checkdowns. So I don't know about the tight end in Buffalo.
I
But
agree.
that's a lot of time on Dawson Knox, though. How about his Kirk Cousins, Stephon Diggs stack? That's becoming really, really productive for him after he
Right,
traded
I
for
mean,
Cousins.
That's the trade that could save him his year. Because he was getting some pretty bad performance out of Diggs, but now every time Diggs does well, Cousins also does well, or gets a good number of points from that.
Yeah.
So
And an injury to Thielen should help.
Right, and he's needing one thing to go right again. So that obviously helps when you're a little bit outgunned. But yeah, it really hurts to go to 2-5 on a loss where you could have prevented it by playing Edmonds instead of Johnson or something. And he, according to him, he was planning on doing it, so that's going to hurt even more.
Yeah, that hurts.
So yeah, 2-5. It's going to be tough for sure. I wouldn't say they're more likely than Yonkers or Flushing, but Duo is not the type of guy to quit at any point.
Nope.
Like, so he's like the ultimate wild card guy. He'll relish in like ruining stuff for other people. Just he's actually the true chaos guy. I think he loves chaos.
Actually,
So
that's true. He
yeah, this is gonna be
faces
a feisty team for sure.
Yuchu and then Diaz Warren. So it's an up and down schedule, I think. We'll see. I don't know. Yeah, he could be a spoiler down the road. Let's go to the last matchup. This was the Hunter, the HFFL game of the week. Mars
Yes,
minus
matchup of the
2
week.
was what I gave them. And Mars remain undefeated, 183.3 fantasy points to 160.9. So pretty solid fantasy points from both teams. New England had Lamar Jackson for 24.25, but really it was Jacoby Brissett with 35.95 fantasy points. And then Mars, they had the San Francisco defense with 34, leading the way. Austin Eckler with 21.5. And then a lot of solid performances from a bunch of guys: Aaron Jones, John Brown, Russell Wilson,
You did what you could, Wonky. You did what you could.
Corey Davis. Yeah, so let's start with my team. I tried. I got a little unlucky as well with Kerryon Johnson going down with injury for the year, so that sucks. And then Dante Pettis was in that rain game. If it wasn't the rain, maybe
sure. Blame it on the rain.
I'm pretty sure it was the rain.
He was tearing it up when it was sunny, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
no, he wasn't. Yeah, I mean, it was he. I had a couple buys, right? That's why even that Dante Pettis is in the lineup. No Chris Godwin, no McCaffrey. Although those aren't excuses. I think my team did actually pretty well in considering all of that. Especially
if you had McCaffrey, you probably would have won the week.
Right, but I think you have to just take it as the performance that you put up, because everyone can always say like, oh, if I did this, or it is what it is.
I'm just saying for like $100.
Right. No, I mean,
that's true. I paid a lot for him.
This is if there was a throwaway week, this would be.
So my question for you guys is now New England's 5-2. Is there concern for this team?
No, I think your team is amazing.
Okay, short and sweet.
Straight to the point, yeah. I mean, no, my thinking hasn't changed. I still think this is the best team. I mean, Lamar Jackson and now Brissett is just like popping off. Like, you just have such high ceilings at like every position, and I don't think any other team has that. The Kerryon Johnson injury definitely does, deal a slight blow to you. Yeah. Yep, but I just think your ceilings at every position are just so high. Like Lamar Jackson and Brissett combine for 100 together on a given week. Josh Jacobs, like even when the Raiders aren't doing well, he still goes off and he's like banged up, and he's just matchup proof for a rookie. And like even with McCaffrey out, it didn't look like you were missing a RB1 too much. It's just that Kerryon got hurt. So yeah, I mean, I still think this is the best team. Although I think the gap might have shrunk a little bit this week. But I mean, Michael Thomas performs no matter like who's throwing it to him. Like it's just
my personal opinion on like Wonky's team is that this is the one team out of the entire league so far, based on my personal opinion, is that it's not based on any luck whatsoever if you discount injuries. I think across the board, from the auction draft to waiver wire pickups throughout the season so far, it's like one of the best managed teams I've seen.
Yeah, no, I mean, everyone has like guys that are outperforming their like draft spot and stuff, but for Wonky's team, I really think everyone's overperforming makes like sense to me. Like Josh Jacobs, he gets a ton of carries and he's like talented, and like that makes sense why he's doing what he is. And Michael Thomas, he's just a beast. Like it doesn't matter who's throwing to him. And like DJ Shark, like he might be not that consistent, but he just gets high value targets. So like for a fourth or fifth receiver, like that's fantastic. And Brissett, Frank Reich, I think, is one of the best offensive coaches in the league, and that offensive line obviously sets him up really well to do his thing. So I don't see any of these like so-called over performances like going away anytime. So still very impressed with this team.
So here's my worry as I look at my team. It's the schedule. So I'm facing Harlem this week, and then it's followed by
Right.
John, and then I'm facing Andrew Chu. So I think it's pretty rough, and I'm missing a couple key players
that hurts.
in that span. So I mean I mentioned it earlier with Lamar and Mark Andrews being gone this week, and then week 9 I'm missing Michael Thomas, although that's only one player, so it's not the end of the world there. But still, I think it's rough facing those guys in a 3 week span. The John Diaz John. So it's going to be very key, very interesting part of my season, I think. And I'd really be happy if I got just one win out of those two, honestly.
Right. But that's what I was saying about like how I was discouraged once I looked at like how the 5-2 teams are, gonna be the next few weeks. Like I think the best team has the toughest schedule, so you'll still probably win at least one out of that stretch, and then you'll have easier matchups down like the last stretch. And then the teams that I think like have vulnerabilities, maybe like they have pretty good matchups over the next few weeks. So I just don't think like the gap is gonna close in the right way for any of the 2 and 5 or 3 and 4 teams to get in without them being pretty much perfect, which is a tough ask. Even if you do have a fantastic team, like there's no guarantee that you don't run into a Hamilton or something. It's
luck, yeah.
I wouldn't bet on it. Like it's so hard to go to have to win out like at this point. So the schedule, like you said, like I do think your team is the best. So when I saw that your schedule was the toughest, I was like, damn, I wish you could like switch schedules with someone else, but. It is what it is. I think you'll be fine, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll see. It's getting me a little concerned, especially coming at the same time with a couple injuries. Let's move to Mars. They are undefeated, 7-0. But my question still to you guys is: are you concerned? Because there are a couple things that I think aren't going too well in their favor. Honestly, Melvin Gordon looks really slow. And it actually hurts that he's back, I think. It hurts for Eckler.
Eckler, getting the whole, share was so much better.
It's better. And then we had a couple weird performances. Austin Hooper didn't really do much until garbage time, I thought.
Yep.
And then
he saved his day with the garbage time,
His QBs had an off game as well. Carson Wentz looked really, in my opinion, really bad. And then
I don't think Carson Wentz had a bad game. I think Carson Wentz just sucks.
Ooh. Oh, the fire. Ooh. Yeah, maybe.
That's not a shot at John. That's a shot
at Wentz.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they kept Wentz instead of Foles.
I agree, but
this is all right. This is my take, and this is from talking to a bunch of fans of the Eagles. Right? They say that Frank Reich was actually the mastermind behind that Super Bowl run.
Looking like it now, yeah.
Yeah, it is looking like it. And they say Peterson is not really a good coach. Like, Peterson does not adjust. Peterson continually, like, plays into, like, the opponent's hands, like, over and over again. And I think we're seeing it in Wentz. His weapons aren't, like, full right now. Deshaun Jackson has been hurt. But I do worry, like, I don't think we'll see, MVP-level Carson Wentz back again if Peterson isn't, able to do it on his own. It might be a real concern. I don't think he's very good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to call this a fluke. I mean, he is. This team is very good. I don't want to take away from John's team. It's a great team. Obviously, you deserve the 7-0. But some random performances from John Brown and Corey Davis, I think, really buoyed him for this week. Larry not showing
defense.
up was. Oh yeah, right. Of course, the defense.
I don't like his wide receiver depth either. That's true.
Yeah, it's a little inconsistent in my opinion, and then the top end with Odell is also inconsistent. So it's really the running backs, and again, I think the Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler is really a problem for him.
I called that like 3 weeks ago. I said Melvin Gordon coming back isn't good for Mars, or it can only be bad, or it can be pretty much equal to what it was. They're either gonna like split the work and make each other worse, or they'll both be good but not as good as like one player getting all that production.
Right.
And for now, I think that is looking to be a concern. I think some random weeks you're gonna start Eckler and Gordon gets 2 touchdowns and Eckler, ends with like 80 or 90 total yards, but no touchdown. And then some weeks it's going to be the opposite. So he has to be praying for a Melvin Gordon trade before the trade deadline, but I don't think that's going to happen, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know who wants Melvin Gordon.
Lions? I don't know.
True. Possible. But yeah, he's a pending free agent. He makes a decent amount of money, so it's not like, super easy to fit him in. And yeah,
Don't
just
say that, Wonky. I just picked up McKissick. The Lions better not trade him.
teams don't like giving up assets for running backs in general. So
True.
we'll see. But yeah, they are 7-0, so that's obviously.
Yeah, I mean, we're just picking at his team in general.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't get to that record just having a bad team in general.
Yeah,
the team is amazing.
He still has Russell Wilson, he's gonna score more than 18 next week. I guarantee it, against the Falcons defense. And then Amari Cooper is doing his thing. He looks like a completely different guy in Dallas. So.
Right. I don't think anyone's saying this is a bad team.
No, not at all.
I think people are saying if there's a uptrending arrow or a downtrending arrow, probably a downtrending arrow for this team. But yeah, I mean, this is a lock for a playoff team, so they have they have the patience to just like figure it out as the season goes, while you or another 5-2 team has to continue stockpiling wins until the gap is big enough for you to even think about stuff like that.
Here's the thing, though: can they be patient because they're 7-0? They're undefeated, so don't they want to continue the undefeated streak?
Yeah, no,
I have to play every week.
I said that last week. Like, the optimal decision for each route is not going to be the same. Trust me.
It's true.
It's not. And it's just not.
Because
there's just always a situation where you could trade for, someone that is going to, peak with the match, because matchups are so important. There's always a situation where you're going to be able to peak at the playoffs, and that's giving yourself the best chance at winning a championship. I think that's what I always try to do in the seasons that I have won a championship. Set it up so that I don't mind being like 9-3 and being like the third seed or whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I just get into the playoffs and have the strongest team available that you can build, and as long as you get into the playoffs, right?
Right.
But he's gonna have to decide, and he says he's gonna do both, but that's not like, there is a difference. So we'll see what he does. Maybe we can analyze what trade he made this week and see if hints to either direction. But yeah, we'll see.
The one thing is he doesn't have the Todd Gurley that you had in your undefeated run. I think that's the main difference between the two undefeated teams. All right, so let's go to the transactions. This was a massive trade. The Mars sends Larry Fitzgerald, Darius Geis, Odell Beckham Jr. to Virginia, who's sending back AJ Green, Sam Darnold, Alshon Jeffrey, and one fab. Initial thoughts, Andrew? One fab. Chu, your initial thoughts here?
I think this is just like what we were talking about earlier. John's trying to stay ahead of the game. He's building his team to try to win the Hunter Bowl. I mean, you look at the AJ Green pickup.
AJ Green does signal that he might be looking more long term, because he's not going to play this week. He has a bye week, so.
Yeah, so I think that's a good move. I mean, Fitzgerald is just totally game flow dependent, just like Kyler Murray is. They're up a lot. I think this is just him trying to build some stability and some star power into his team, and I mean, he has Carson Wentz, so he wants to stack that Alshon Jeffrey. So this is just like an overall smart move on John's part to do so, and then Hua's just trying to, by getting Odell, Hua's making a shot in the dark, try to buoy his star power as well on his side for like a win now kind of thing.
Yeah, Dustin.
So yeah, like if you look at who we got back, like I said, AJ Green doesn't look like he's going to contribute now. Also, Sam Darnold, has looked bad, but his schedule does get better starting like next week, I think.
Yep.
So that's also maybe not a week, right now move. And then Alshon Jeffrey, he hasn't been doing that well, but if you look at his playoff schedule, it's Giants, Redskins, and Cowboys, which is, pretty good, I would say. Like the Giants and Redskins are definitely could be passed on. So, maybe he's looking towards that with the stack with Wentz.
Yeah,
But
and I think Darnold, I think he's kind of directly answering my concern with Wentz. Maybe he's looking to put Darnold in at those points when the Jets schedule gets easier for the.
I mean, if you saw Darnold last week, I don't know how that would
Yeah, I mean,
address any concerns.
that might be his thinking, but yeah, I
Arnold
agree.
just needs to stop saying ghosts. He'll be alright.
Ooh, he made it his way
So-
onto the show.
Right. I will tell
Yeah,
you
go
what
ahead.
I don't like about this trade.
Yeah.
I like the thinking of like, okay, like let me sacrifice a wide receiver one now for a better wide receiver in the future, but I don't think AJ Green is going to be a better wide receiver, and I think there's a pretty big chance that AJ Green doesn't play this year.
Woo!
I mean, that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that like
Yeah.
like the Bengals are out of it. He wants to stay healthy because he's going to be a free agent next year.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, like he's so they're hoping that someone trades for him. That's the only way that people think he will play. If he doesn't get traded, if no one bites on what the Bengals want back for him, people think he'll like have surgery or something to like shut it down for the rest of the year. So this could blow up pretty big in his face. Like Larry Fitzgerald, Alshon Jeffrey is pretty much a wash, I would say.
Yep.
Fitzgerald gets more consistent volume, but he is old, so nobody really.
Yeah, I mean
can
that's
always-
the real trade.
Yeah,
I agree.
people-
I
Right.
could buy
So,
into that.
yeah,
It was just
I
AJ
like the
Green go back
idea,
in.
but I
Mhm.
wish he would have gone for someone other than AJ Green. Because even if AJ Green does come back in that situation, I honestly don't think his ceiling is super high. That team's offensive line is actually really bad, and it's not just like because AJ Green's out, like they're not able to move the ball. Like
That's so stupid.
if you watch the game, like Dalton,
Dalton,
sorry.
yeah.
Sometimes he just has no time. Like Joe Mixon's getting hit in the
Nothing.
backfield like
Yeah.
every play. Like I just don't think like you want a piece of that offense, And as bad as the Browns have been, and they have been bad, like Odell is at least like younger, healthier, and that offense, has a higher ceiling this year. So I don't
You think it
understand
would
why
have
he
been
did
a
that.
better trade for Odell for Antonio Brown?
No, I mean, Antonio Brown is definitely worse, but like it could be not good. Also, the Sam Darnold thing, like I think John is taking a risk here. Like if Sam Darnold doesn't finish the season as like a top 20 starting quarterback,
I saw this too.
he's a negative asset.
Yep.
He's signed for
2 more
two
years.
more years, right?
Yep.
And when QBs like are going for like $15, like $13, $19, $20, like good quarterbacks are going for that price. Do you really want to keep Sam Darnold for it's cheap, but like, are you getting any value? You're wasting 2 years on a guy that I think could very well not be keepable. So, I think Chu said like he likes it for John, but I think this was a unmitigated win for Virginia here.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. I mean, the Sam Darnold was a great move. I thought it was a really smart move by Hua to get rid of that negative asset. I mean,
I'm sure he sold like the really soft schedule coming up, and if Sam Darnold does dominate that stretch, he might even be a positive asset. Someone might want to keep him for that. But I'm just saying, like, I would not have made that bet, especially because now we're working in years of keepers and like 2 years to a quarterback that is barely worth like what he's being kept for. I just think is not a great asset.
Right, and him beating up on bad defenses. I mean, that's what any QB can do, right? Like that's why we're talking about him.
So I don't think even if he does finish kind of well, like I think there will still be skepticism, and he'll probably go for like $12-$15 next auction anyway if he was like a free agent.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just don't really like that part of the trade, especially.
And one name we didn't even bring up is Darius Geis. I really like that pickup for Virginia as well. Yes, the Redskins are bad. I don't know how well they're doing right now, but they're not a great team. They're probably tanking or accidentally tanking for this year. But I think Geis is a really interesting talent. I mean, I liked him coming out. He's been very unlucky with injuries. He's got multiple issues with his legs. But
his injury status and the Redskins training staff combined make me just be like, I'm gonna treat that as a 0 until they prove otherwise. But you're right. Like even without considering that, like I still think it's a massive win for Virginia. And if Darius Geis is even anything, like that's just I think wins on all three levels of this trade. Like
Right.
so.
What's the chance of us talking about Geis as a keeper, like in the offseason for next year? Probably high, right? Like it could be a thing. Maybe. I don't know.
wouldn't say high, but it's definitely possible. Yeah.
He could be the lead back there. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he'll have to stay healthy for more than
2 days.
one half of a game. So
You guys have convinced
definitely
me.
problematic.
I think Quad just wins too much. With
Right?
I think so.
Beckham, now that I think about it, I feel like Beckham is just way too good of a player to be.
Right. Like, what is AJ Green's ceiling? It's gonna be what Beckham is right now, except he's older, more injury prone, and on a worse offense. I just don't get it.
So here's one last thing about the trade. I know we're going on about it, but there is a massive salary difference between the two, right? I think Virginia is taking something around $40 in the cap, and Mars is offloading a lot. Is this possibly a setup move for trading away a cheap keeper that he has a couple for someone that's more expensive? Maybe that's what it is.
Right. I actually think that might be in consideration, and that would mean that this trade makes a lot more sense for Mars. So I mean, yeah, I'm not saying he doesn't have a plan.
Right.
I just, as it stands in a vacuum,
That's
like
true.
I think it's poor value. But you're right. He's at 270 now. That can fit in a whole superstar
lot.
running back or a superstar wide receiver or multiple like tier 2 players. So. Definitely, if he thinks that he has like some targets that he wants to go for once people start maybe selling off some pieces, I think we could be saying something different about this trade. But
because Green also could be extra salary that he gives away as well. But I don't know. I'm just speculating.
Maybe we're just getting bamboozled. Maybe trading.
Sorry, you got cut off, Cheer.
I said maybe we're just getting tricked. Maybe the trading company actually has bigger plans across.
Yeah,
the board.
it's possible that they already have something lined up. Even so, like I don't want to say like this is unmitigated like disaster for him, but as far as we can see, like with the pieces that exchange, I don't think they're better. I think they're worse than they were before.
Cool. Any last thoughts? I think we're good, right?
Yeah, I think we covered it pretty heavily.
Yeah, it was a big trade, though. I think it required all that time.
For sure, yeah. Big balls needed for this one, yeah.
Yeah, that was massive. So same night, last night, also had another trade. I traded away Tyler Boyd and 5 fab for Curtis Samuel and Philip Lindsay. And so I'll just start by saying I was looking for running backs. I put it in the trading box, so I talked to a bunch of people about the running backs, and we went back and forth, me and Hua, and we just agreed upon Lindsay and Samuel. I think this was pretty good value in terms of the return, but I think with Hua, he's also thinking about the salary. I just mentioned about how he's taking on a whole bunch. So Tyler Boyd's a really cheap but solid wide receiver, 2-3 range kind of guy who's just going to be consistent. He's going to put up around 10 every week. And Curtis Samuel, he's much more of a boom bust guy, and I think I would like someone like that on my bench. To put in here and there for a couple of the bye weeks. And again, I needed that running back. So I think I got, it's a low end RB2, maybe RB3 kind of guy, but it's a solid return, I think.
Yeah, you need bodies right now because carry on going down really makes you scramble for, to fill that role. And Lindsay does look like the more talented guy there, although I don't love that offense. That offense could tick up if Locke comes in and gives them a little bit of a jolt. So that's not bad. I mean, I get this one for both sides. I honestly, Tyler Boyd is really cheap for what he is, but I don't think he's gonna, pop off this year. Just because I'm pretty down on like Cincinnati's like offensive line. Like I think that might be the worst offensive line in the league. And it just addressed both teams' needs. You weren't as picky about salary, while Hua I think needed to get a little bit lighter because of the other trade. So it makes a lot of sense. You get a little bit more depth and honestly, like Curtis Samuel could be as productive as Tyler Boyd, possibly.
I think Kyle Allen's a better quarterback than Cam Newton.
Woo! You're just spitting fire today, Chu.
Yeah, he's a hot take master.
Oh
No, I
my
meant, like,
God.
throwing. I meant throwing quarterback. So like,
Yeah.
Okay. Good clarification. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, a healthy Cam Newton could come back and like look a little bit
Yep.
more like the old Cam Newton. So
It's possible.
yeah, I mean, I like it for you. I also obviously get it for Chu. Like he's picking up someone that
Full
could
hawk,
be, yeah, flipped as a keeper asset if he has a
Yep.
few good weeks.
Yep.
He's getting cheaper. He doesn't start Curtis Samuel most weeks because he has good wide receiver depth. And
Right.
Lindsey is a not that reliable so far. So
Yeah, not that exciting.
he's not losing anything too big. But yeah, I mean you've addressed what you need really really quickly and really efficiently.
this
So
just works for both teams.
yeah, this is a trade that just works for both teams.
Yep.
I think
it was good. It's good, both sides. Let's look at the transactions, the ad drops, really quick here. Oh my God, I always get tricked by the the claim drop commissioner only. I thought again the waiver wire was interesting. The Ty Johnson, of course, with Carry-On going down, Oakland got them for 13. He noted that he wasn't expecting it, and so he really wanted. I'm not sure if he really wanted McKissick, but he thought he would get McKissick at 9. McKissick went to you, Andrew, for 7. So yeah, I mean my thoughts on the backfield and one of the reasons why I was looking for a running back elsewhere, not from the waiver wire, was because I don't know if these guys are going to really. I feel like those two added together might be Carry-On Johnson, but
yeah.
they're kind of not too great. I mean, the Lions also. I don't.
I honestly also think Paul Perkins might.
Yeah, he'll factor in.
Yeah, so
Chalk Carson
it's a
as well.
three-way split, I think. But for this week, the matchup is really good.
That's
so
true.
If Duo's looking for this week, like he's probably got a good start there.
I mean,
yeah,
I didn't even put money towards Ty Johnson.
Yeah, me neither.
I was watching film and I just didn't. I felt like McKissick was just more explosive overall.
Yeah, he's got the more valuable role actually with the pass catching. I mean, Ty Johnson did catch a couple passes, but I think what the pass catching back does on the Lions offense is better right now. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see how it turns out after this week, I guess. Let's see. We got a couple other. So Peyton Barber for 5 to Harlem. That's kind of interesting. We got. Oh, you picked up Kenny Stills for 6. Great kills.
I didn't think I would get him for 6.
Then outbidded me.
Huh.
Yeah,
Kenny
I
Stills.
mean, yeah, getting a piece of that offense is pretty exciting, and I mean, you saw how Fuller boomed. Like, not saying that Stills can do what Fuller does, but
Huge
like,
boom.
just that role could be startable for the time while Fuller is out. So I mean, 6, I'm pretty happy with that price. Obviously, he could be nothing too. I'm just saying, like, he does have that kind of upside. So 6 was pretty nice for us.
The other thing is, on the same note, I picked up Kiki QT on the same offense for 1.
I put $1 bid on that if I didn't get Stills, because you don't know how it's gonna shake out while Stills is out. And QT had some boom games last year in terms of like tons of receptions, and like he's a good like slot receiver. So maybe he breaks out a little bit. So.
Yep, I like that offense as well. I think that I'm sure you also love that offense, Joe.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, they can, yeah, dude. They can put up points so quick.
That's why I bid for Kenny Stills. I just didn't,
How much did you bid, Joe?
I bid like half of that.
Okay.
I bid 3.
All right.
Other than that, I don't think there's too many things. A couple kickers. Hua picked up Matt Moore. I'm not sure exactly why. That's another QB for him. Maybe it's because he lost Darnold. He needs to keep the QB room full. Or
they need a 5-man QB room at Alta.
Or it could have been maybe to outbid Ken, because Ken has the Mahomes situation, and we talked about this earlier, but he screwed up this waiver wire period by not picking up a QB, which he desperately needed because he has Dak Prescott on bye and Mahomes injured. So he's only got Jameis locked in.
Yeah.
So
I actually like the Devontae Parker pickup. Like, Stills, I think has the higher potential for like a few weeks.
For 3. Yeah.
But Devontae Parker's been consistently putting up 10-point, 15, like 13-point games. So if you're not going for hot, like super upside, just because I don't think that offense has that much upside where like Devontae Parker is going to be a league winner, but that's $3 like depth move, like that's a pretty
that's
good.
why Devontae was my like second behind.
Right. Yeah. So I actually
Yeah.
like that you got him for 3. That's pretty good, I think.
He's been consistent. It's pretty good.
Yeah. And with Fitzpatrick, like this could be just like the real thing for him. So
Yeah, we talked about it. The Miami offense kind of was good against the Bills defense. Like,
yeah,
they were able to put up points, 21 points, like 21
Walton
real
might
points.
be better than Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, or maybe Kenyon Drake just doesn't care because the team sucks.
Yeah,
It's
that's
possible
also
too.
true.
And then Kalen Ballage is the best running.
Oh God,
He's so bad.
the goal line.
The goal line carries.
You don't have anything to add about Devontae Parker, right, Andrew?
No, not really. I think, like I said, yeah, no, I've been watching him week 3, and then at first I didn't want to believe that he was consistent. He was going to be consistent, but then he just keeps catching touchdowns in that offense, and I'm just like, okay, I guess they are only gonna throw to him in the end zone.
Yep.
So I was like, okay.
Yeah, he could possibly boom even like he's showing that he's got a good floor. So I think that's a great pick.
I mean, he gets enough targets. He just doesn't catch anything,
Yeah, that's also true.
which is the real. But hey, if he ends up catching all of them, then it's gonna be a huge boom.
LAC, he switched Johnson's Keyshawn to Olabisi. I think that's probably because of Adam Thielen's injury designation for the week. So he's got a little more opportunity in the Vikings offense. I don't really know much about Olabisi, but I think, I don't know. There was a different guy who was getting hype on the Vikings offense. I remember way
Zach
earlier.
Randolph.
Oh, wait, what? Who?
Randolph was available as a tight end this week.
Oh,
Rudolph?
Rudolph, Kyle Rudolph.
Oh, Rudolph. Sorry.
Yeah, Duo picked him up.
Oh,
He
okay.
did pick him up. Oh, I didn't see that on the.
Yeah, he could get a touchdown because Kirk Cousins has to throw one to a white guy every week.
Oh God. Yeah.
Had to throw that in there.
Yeah, you're right. Kyle Rudolph for 3. Oh, I didn't see that. Yeah, you're dropping Dawson Knox. And then I also picked up a tight end, Eric Ebron, to fill in my buy. By the way, I also really wanted to pick up Irv Smith Jr. I almost put him above Eric Ebron, but I was like, no. It's like, wake up, you can't do that. So I put Eric Ebron first, but I did put Irv Smith Jr. second.
Is Zeke injured? What's the upside to Tony Pollard?
Oh, that's just I think a handcuff.
Yeah, just a handcuff. If Zeke does get injured,
Yeah.
that's a pretty good starting running back to have. So
It's because carry-on went down, right? So it's making everyone think like, oh wow, we gotta pick up all the handcuffs.
right, yeah, anyone can get hurt.
Yep. And then last, so there's some kickers, some defenses. I think that's whatever. I picked up Nick Foles.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna
Not a
start.
Minshew believer.
I don't know. I have no idea if he's
Yeah,
going
but
to start.
it's a really good flyer for $1. Like, if Foles does come back and they do start him and he looks good, like that's a really cheap third QB or like a trade asset for someone that believes in Nick Foles long term. So I really like the thinking there. I do want to say one defense. Hua picked up the Rams, who looked pretty good after they added Ramsey, and I do think Virginia's was lacking like a defense on the level of San Francisco or New England, so maybe the Rams get hot on defense and they have a decent matchup. So
You're with Duho on the Rams defense is good.
I mean, Ramsey does change it a lot for them, but yeah, they're not consistent enough for me to like believe that they're one of the top ones.
Yep. You got anything else, Chu? I think.
No, that's it. I think everybody was just trying to fill in some possible depth moves this week and surprisingly it wasn't a lot. I guess everybody's minor offense, so practice squads. So no, there wasn't any crazy minor practice squad moves this week.
Yep. Cool. Well, I think let's do who you got off air because it's pretty. We're pretty late. But
we're not doing a 3-hour show, no.
I mean, if you want, but I'm up for it.
No, we could close it here.
You got any last thoughts, Andrew? Closing remarks? Anything?
Little
Uh,
silver pooper.
Oh,
I
Silver
have to.
Pooper.
Yeah, the Stover Pooper has to actually evaluate his depth for this week because try to figure out who I want to start. But
Ooh, you're playing against Yonkers.
yeah, maybe
Wow, that's actually kind of interesting because those were the two teams that we said from 2-5 we could see making
yeah.
the run,
I
right?
Oh
think it
man,
feels like a
But
make or break week
yeah,
too.
it
but
is.
one is I think gonna be eliminated. I don't think a 6-loss team is gonna make it. So
Yeah,
this
me
is an
either.
elimination game, I think, for them too, which is a shame because I think you both do have pretty strong rosters.
Oof.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting for yeah this week.
Yeah, there's another. Obviously, the Harlem, New England 5252
Yep,
teams are
yep. That's
facing
gonna
each
that's
other.
gonna make one of you the target for the people that are chasing you.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I mean, the good thing for me is I think I think Diaz is gonna be really hard to beat
He
mhm.
is.
for 1Q.
I think
So
so.
I mean, I'm not saying Jay's worse, but I'm just saying like
All right.
Jay has had problems before, but obviously his team has bounced back now. But we'll see this week.
Yep.
And of course, there's also the Great Kills Oakland. I think that's an interesting matchup as well because he's the only 3-4 team. Justin.
That's true. Yeah. If my team loses and goes to like 3-5, I think the pressure on the top four teams significantly like lessens. Whereas if I do win, then it's like kind of almost a 5-man picture, almost. But if I lose, I think it's like a 4-man picture with like, someone's like pinky toe like is still in the picture.
Well,
So
yeah, if you win, I think you're definitely in the race. You're 4-4 then, right? Yeah, you're
yeah,
definitely in the race.
yeah. But yeah, that's a big if. So we'll see.
Whew, yeah, a lot of things going on.
Yeah, a lot of relevance. I just want to say Hua gets to play Capital Region when they messed up and
No QB.
didn't no QB. So
I
this is
know.
I guess this is making up
How
for
much luckier can he get?
yeah, this
It's
is making up for
insane.
like the years of bitching he did. Like now he's getting like every break.
Well, he's commissioner now. Maybe that's what happens.
That's true. The commissioner when you make new rules year is always a big
You think
year.
Qua secretly denied every one of Ken's like waiver claims?
Oh yo, we wouldn't even know. I'm just
Oh,
That's what I'm saying. If Qua
Oh,
denied
that's-
every one of Ken's
Nah,
waivers,
I can check the log and no,
he
he
wouldn't.
didn't. But like,
I know. I'm sure
it
he
is hilarious that like we like possibly would never know.
That's true. And last but not least, we will cover LIC Mars. Does Mars stay undefeated?
I think so. This is not the week they lose.
True.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna lose, but I want to believe in just so
So
Warren could just so Warren could say
the
something to
hot guarantee.
John.
Yeah, make the hot
Come on,
guarantee.
get the fire. I'm serving it up to you. I'm serving it
come on.
up to you, Chew. Come on.
I don't know, man. I gotta be
Ah.
realistic. Warren just doesn't have a firepower.
Oh, damn. Damn! Now if Warren wins, he can rub it in your face and John's face.
It's okay. I'd be willing to take it as long as John the heat for it.
True.
I'll just tell you, I've been betting against John on the Who You Got a lot, and
Me
it's not
too,
working
me
out.
too.
So
Me too. Last week I took him because I was like, all right, every time I bet against him, like he seems to win, and he just still won. So like, it might just be one of those years.
yeah, I think he'll survive undefeated, and then
This week, yeah.
I'll have a really painful matchup in the following week. Hopefully, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Oh. Thank God, Devontae Freeman's not gonna get suspended.
Yeah,
Oh.
solid.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think we're good for this week. Next week we'll be back on. So next week I'll be out of town, so probably we'll pre-record and release it. We're having, I think, Matt, the co-owner for your team, Great Kills. So should be a pretty cool episode with the new guest. And see you guys.
I'll have to connect two mics this time.
Oh yeah.
Get a voice changer for my alter ego.
We'll probably drop it on Thursday, I think. But
It's gonna be the Great Kill Show.
It's gonna be pre-recorded because Matt doesn't exist, and I need to voice both things, and we need to come together.
That makes sense.
it does make sense. So we'll be back next week, or I guess I'll be back in 2 weeks, but we'll have a show next week.
Yep.
So peace out,
Good
guys.
show.
Thanks, guys.